Share. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining on. My name is Brittany McDonald. I am a team member here at Integrated Health Outreach, and I have two roles within this project. One is on the monitoring and evaluations aspect as a specialist, and so you would have connected with me in that facility on the livelihoods component, but we've also been working on the EbA platform, ecosystem-based adaptation knowledge platform, with our partners in tech. And we want to share this with you. You would have received a previous survey asking what you think this particular platform should be. And so just generally, I will be providing a project background for those of us who may be unfamiliar with the project and experiencing the connectivity for the first time. And then also just a refresher for persons who have connected with us in the past. So again, my name is Brittany McDonald. In this capacity, I am a computer information systems specialist and have been working with the InTech team to ensure that the user interface, as well as the knowledge platform, is as accessible as possible across the overall diaspora within the Caribbean. This project in particular interfaces with Antigua and Barbuda, the Dominican Republic, and Jamaica. So under the CBF EBA project, our project is entitled Strengthening Regional Climate Resilience and Supporting Green Economic Recovery Through Ecosystem-Based Adaptation and Sustainable Livelihoods. This project has been ongoing for a few years now, and so we're reaching our point where we would have had a lot of engagement from stakeholders and inputs, and so we've been able to develop this knowledge platform. The project is supported by the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund and its donors, and Integrated Health Outreach is the local implementing partner for this project in Antigua and Barbuda. And we also have our project partner, the National Parks Authority, responsible for the Nelson Stockyard National Park. All right, so just going over the background of the project in a bit more detail. So we've been looking at ecosystems on the coastline, the wetlands, and we've been looking at coral reef restoration. So those are some of the activities that we've been doing in Antigua and Barbuda and across the region and the other two countries. This assists with our resilience, especially as we would have just recently had Jamaica experience Hurricane Melissa, which is a very volatile hurricane and would have caused a lot of destruction, not only on the coastline, but also inland, and impacted livelihoods. So it's unfortunate that we have these examples, but this is important to connect back to the reason why we have projects like this and why it's important to get stakeholder feedback ongoing and connectivity with the community on these climate stressors and what your experience has been, and making sure we have resources that document this information as well. So the three objectives under this project are to restore, conserve, and build the marine coastal ecosystems and reduce the exposure of people to climate change hazards and support community well-being and resilience. So we have stakeholder engagements and consultations. And so some of you would have participated in those activities, whether that's at the Nelson Stockyard National Park or at any of the other facilities that Integrated Health Outreach has provided over the course of the program. Objective 2, which has been underway, is to diversify and/or strengthen existing sustainable, climate resilient, natural resource-based livelihoods in local communities to build adaptive capacity and reduce marine coastal degradation. And so we have our decided livelihoods that have been provided by the community. So that would have been our ecotourism courses, our beekeeping courses, and we've recently launched this year our arts and crafts and the climate resilience training to support the sustainable business courses so that persons can have that resilience built into the businesses that they are starting or the adaptation that they are using now in their business thanks to these courses. And then finally, this is the one that we would have had a longer time in connecting back to you on. And this is the ecosystem-based adaptation knowledge platform. And so this again has been a development process over the course of the project, a lot of back and forth, different ideas, different perspectives using previous knowledge platforms that exist as standards and looking at how these interfaces can be adapted to our local context. And so I'm going to dive right in. I'm not sure how many persons would have had the opportunity to review the platform, but we're going to go over it together so that you have a preview. And this is not a live site. This is a beta site so that you'd be able to provide feedback to us in completing the survey. So this overall is the website, and I'm just going to go over to the survey to share with you what it looks like. So once you've reviewed the platform, reviewed the manual, then you can come over into the EbA Knowledge platform and provide us that feedback by January 16th. So in case you want to have any follow up with me, any future contact, any questions you may have, any suggestions, if you want to see how that could unfold, any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. I will share my contact information as well. But it is available via the letter that your organization or company would have been provided. And also, we will have a second focus group on January 14th, and that will be at 6 p.m. So we'll connect back next week in an evening session to ensure that persons who couldn't make it for the morning session, and for persons who have made it to the morning session, as well as if you are having questions and you want to engage again, we can do that as well. So let's dive right in. So the platform will have logos for the donors, project partners added on, but this is the home page. So this is what has been mutually selected across the development team. So everything can be a feedback point. So for example, one of those that I shared would have been the white background would be more preferable because it would provide a higher level of contrast to the green images. So that's one example of feedback that you can provide. So let's go through the site. So on the homepage, it shares Caribbean knowledge platform, ecosystem-based adaptation, actions, practical collaborative actions to protect and restore nature. And it starts with a contact form. So we're gonna go to the contact form and then back. And here is where you'd be able to send us an inquiry with your name, email, the subject, and the message. Feel free, for example, if you would like to see organization on here or a phone number, you think that you would want to be contacted by phone instead, then you can also place that item here. You can also share with us in terms of feedback, should we have any sections for what the topic might be. So instead of leaving it blank, it could be a checkbox, for example. So let us know what your experience is with the interface. Is it cohesive? Does it have a great flow to it? Those are important things that we're looking for and would appreciate the feedback on, because then that means it will be an easy site for you to use and for you to process. And based on your reason for using it, would be able to ensure that you have a great experience. Okay, so then as we scroll down, we talk about what are ecosystem-based solutions. So because this platform is also open to the general public internationally, it's going to be a global website. So there won't be any entry costs to participate, but we wanted to make sure that for all persons who access the site, they would have a general knowledge of what EbA solutions are, what are the concepts, and also what are the benefits. So these highlight those components. And then here, we've all awfully visited a lot with 1,231 visits, but these are just to capture those metrics so that we can also share mutually what the experience has been like. Persons are visiting, staying on the website, and then the number of resources. So this is the main function of the knowledge platform, for you to be able to access resources from your country, but also from other countries within the region, and emphasize that knowledge sharing component and that connectivity. And the reading would be in relation to the sources that have been clicked on. So the most viewed sources would be placed here. This is to highlight potentially what may be of interest to the overall community that is visiting the site. And then also what's possible too is potentially adding in a highlight or a feature section. So do you think that that's something we should do? You can let us know in the survey feedback form. Okay, so I'll give an example of what happens when you click read. So when we hit read, it goes to the source, and this one is in relation to a PDF, and you can also download the PDF. So read your PDF for free, and it just has a login for you to access that free PDF. And there are others that are connected back to this site. Okay, just giving another example. Okay, so here we are on IKI's website. It will ask you in relation to the cookies, and then you can continue on and see information there as well. So the platform is connecting you to external sources, as well as internal sources, where it wouldn't change over into a new website. So here is the next feature, read. Okay, so we'd have other browser links. So is that something that you would like? Would you want it to stay within the same page and you just hit back? Or would you like to continue going on to the website of the other person? Okay, so that's our home page. So now let's go to resources. All right, so we have a slight transition there, but here's the resource library. So you're exploring case studies, guidelines, tools, and research from across the Caribbean. So these are the resources similar to what we had on the homepage. This is what we would have placed here, but then now we can search. So let's say I was looking for Bolivia. I would be able to search Bolivia I would select the country, and it's also asking what types of sources, for example. So you can apply that. And so let's say we want a policy analysis. And so now it's giving an option. I believe something, okay, page and load because this is a PDF. So this is an online. This is an online source PDF. And so you would go through and see the resource there. And so you can also sort by term. So let's say we wanted to look at mangroves. Let me just search. Oh, sorry. Reset first. Okay, so now we're searching. Let's say we wanted Caribbean mangrove resources. Let's do case studies. And it's coastal. And then we apply. Here we have the source, and it's discussing the various case studies related to mangroves. So this is in connection in the Dominican Republic. So there would be additional sources added. So these aren't a full or a final list, I should say, of sources. But these are just the preliminary ones that we've added on. So the resource aspect can share what opportunities are available. So let's just look at reports. And let's look at agricultural reports. And we have two. So we have coffee farming, EbA, and we have coffee production perspectives in Central America. So just sharing what this source looks like, the results, and so you can go through, and this one has contact information as well. Okay, let's go to the audiovisual resources. We do have this tab because we also wanted to ensure that we were appealing to various methods of communication and also giving the opportunity for persons who have perhaps visual disabilities, they would be able to listen auditory to ecosystem-based adaptation case studies, reports, webinars, things that are available to increase knowledge and awareness and provide support to all team members. And so we have YouTube videos that are linked. So again, these are accessible externally, but this is the knowledge platform pooling this information together in a central location. So just showing an example of a video. So that's playing in screen, so it won't automatically take you outside. But then, I'm just gonna mute it, but then if you want it to play on YouTube, you can watch it externally, or you can, of course, go to full screen mode. So there are options with the audio aspect of it, audio visual, I should say. All right, and then again, we also kept with the theme of nature background. And so feel free to also comment on those aspects as well. All right, and then on the about page, again, we have that transition, but it just reviews the overall Caribbean ecosystem-based adaptation and the knowledge platform, why we have these components. So again, it's making sure we have the regional context, the centralized resources, the smart search, which we would have gone over, and then for all profiles. So when we're discussing that, it means we want users to be able to access this information from the community level all the way across the board to regulatory officials and everyone in between. So academia, universities, students, businesses, we want you to be able to find the resources within this group and within this platform so that you're able to find information and tools for your work. So again, we highlight on the About page the purpose of the platform. So the case studies, scientific evidence, tools, multimedia, and this would be able to have an ongoing process of information to share, to develop, and also to be able to increase education on ecosystem-based adaptation, the work that's being done in your country, and also by your team in your region, depending on the expanse of your natural resource management work, and also your advocacy or activism. So that is a general overview. We would have completed the contact form at the beginning. So this is just us moving towards the end. And finally, as you can see, there are languages. So if you are a French speaker, potentially you're from Haiti, you can change the contact information. So here it changed name to nom, email, subject, séjour, and message. So you'd be able to experience the website in French and then also in Spanish. You would be able to have this aspect as well, where the information, lecturas, it's translated for you. Here where it said read, it's leer. So we're ensuring that we have community responsiveness and adaptivity via the languages, las lenguas. So it's comprehensive in that component. Again, our partners in development are in the Dominican Republic, and so this is another boost to integration and making sure that we're able to process information that's happening across the region in this way as well. So I'm going to end this overview here, and I will pause the recording so that if there are any questions, you can feel free to ask. And then this recording will be shared on the Integrated Health Outreach website on our YouTube, and I'll share this out so that you would be able to review the platform. I did want to just briefly show you the manual. I won't go through it in immense detail. It is quite a lengthy document in terms of going over the different aspects of the platform, but this helps in terms of the conceptualization, the design, and the resources, and making sure that we have a search engine, a filter, and giving you guidance as to who this is for and the purpose of it. So we've created this as a standard document for the operating process of the platform, and also what we would have received from across the region on its development process. So on our regional survey, we would have received over 62 responses, and this included academia, technicians, community organizations, public sector, and civil society, and we've had these working meetings, co-sessions among partner institutions, and user testing. So this is what we'll go into in the next phase, where we will have training on the platform provided to you and available, accessible. We'll have some tutorials that we'll do as well. And so this overall, again, discusses the resources of the platform and any changes that we receive, any feedback, any confirmations as well. So the feedback could be, this is wonderful, I had an amazing time navigating it. But if you do have any questions, you can share with us your feedback and your questions, and we'll be able to share answers. And what you will see as well, just as the platform, the website will have a final version based on that feedback, so will this manual. So again, it's worth taking the time to review and making sure that you have the background on the knowledge platform, the EbA knowledge platform, and understanding of the use cases that you might be able to apply with this information, and the value that you would see coming from it as an organization, as an entity, as a regulator. And then we'll also be able to make those inputs. Again, we do need that feedback by January 16th. That is our deadline, so that we can make the incorporated changes. And then in February, March, we'll be having our final sessions where we'll go through training, practice, and ensuring that persons across this field and on a global level would be able to access the website and use this resource library. All right, so we'll move into the next stage of the focus group. I want to thank everyone for joining and reviewing this preliminary stage. So we'll take any questions that you may have at this time.